Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of the big June 2019 estate buy. So we're going to start right out with finishing up. I went through all the boxes and pulled out the last of all the indicators so we can wrap up basically all the indicators. Most of the indicators that you saw, most of the indicators from this lot were in part 1, but I did find a couple more. Let's start with this one right here. This is another tessitast. Okay, so this is the second one of these that I found in here. And this is Mark Tessa, Swiss made, jeweled. And this is a half thousandths, 0.0005 indicator. Okay, looks like it's in pretty good shape. A little bit of, a few nicks in that on the dovetails. Nothing too bad. I can't make out the calibration, the date on the calibration sticker here. If there was one, it's faded away. So that's got, it's got some miles on it, but it works perfectly fine, which is I would expect. These are very, very well made indicators. And the other thing that's nice is this arm that it's on. This is actually a pretty nice adjustable arm, and it's got the little dovetail mount on the end of it there. So that arm alone is worth a few bucks to me. And of course we've got the indicator to boot. That's a nice DTI there. And then I found, here's another arm similar to that one. It's just in its own little holder here. This almost looks like it's never been used. Now, this arm is actually clearly marked right here, Swiss made. So I would not be surprised at all if this is a Tessa indicator arm. And it may have been sold through Brown & Sharpe. So this may have been something that was picked up along with the best test over here that showed up in episode 1. Or one of these two tessitast indicators. Back up a second here and see whether or not this is engraved with the owner's name, but no markings on this arm, so I'm not sure who makes this arm. Next up, I found in one of the drawers of one of the toolboxes, I found loose, no case to be found for this Mitutoyo. This is kind of an unusual DTI. The size and shape of it, it's almost a vertical. Well, it's actually kind of like halfway between, right? So usually you see the DTIs, the faces are mounted this way. Notice how this one, it's tilted back. That's what makes it unusual to me. And then, of course, some of them are just full-on vertical. And then Starrett actually makes a model. It's quite expensive. Starrett makes a model that the face can actually flip up. I forgot what the number is on that one, but it's kind of pricey, and you don't see them too often. But let's get back to the matter at hand. So this is a Mitutoyo 513-443. It says anti-magnetic, jeweled, made in Japan. So it's a good quality indicator. It's got a nice large face on it for a DTI, just in comparison. This Tessa is about probably average. This is larger. The best test is even the best test is probably just actually that best test is one of the ones with the larger faces, and that's about the same size as that. I think this bezel just makes it look bigger. But this indicator works perfectly. Very nice and smooth. The dovetails are in good shape. I don't know, I might have to keep that one. We'll see. You really only hold on to so many. This is a Starrett long travel indicator. So this is a 25-2041 Starrett. I believe this is 2-inch travel. All right. So it seems to work perfectly fine, but the interesting thing about this indicator is, notice that one of the sub dials, it actually is pointing to the 2 instead of the 0. All right, it's pointing to the 2 instead of the 0, and as I push on it, it actually goes clockwise, which is what I would expect it to do, but I would expect it to actually be sitting at 0 for starting. Okay, so I think there's something wrong with this indicator, that sub dial, and that sub dial there also probably should be starting maybe just behind the 0, so that when you preload the indicator on something, you can bring it to 0. So I think these two faces need to be reclocked, and I wouldn't even begin to know how to do that. That would be something that, professional like Mark Rutkowski could probably do for somebody. I may end up selling this one only because I think I have a few of these. I don't know how many of these I need. But here's the thing I found interesting about this was it had this bracket on it. And there's another bracket in one of the boxes I'm going to find. So we'll set this aside for the moment, and I'm going to come back to this. But he was explaining to me what he was using this for. I forgot that he gave me this box. This box was for, looks like it was for really small end mills or something. But anyways, he gave me this box just to put this in for now, for traveling. All right, I've had a couple of these come through my hands. I think I've owned an Ames, which went to somebody who actually ended up doing like a restoration on it and putting it in their private collection. This one is a Starrett. I think the last one of these I had was a Mitutoyo, and it sold fairly quickly. So this is a step up from that. The indicator part number is a 1015 M as in Mike, B as in Bravo -881. Interestingly enough, it says 0.01 millimeter, so this is in millimeters. All right, so this is a millimeter thickness gauge. The idea being that you put your fingers through like this, and you grab it like this, open it up the jaws, stick whatever it is you want to check the thickness of in there, and close it up. Okay, so I don't really have a practical use for this, so that's why, even though I don't currently have one of these, every one of these that I've gotten a hold of I've sold. This being a Starrett, I'd be maybe tempted to keep it, but I think this is going to be a sale item, so we'll check the value on that and put a fair price on it and send it down the road. And I figured this qualified as an indicator too, because it has a dial and it does a measurement. So this is interesting because this actually has this label riveted to the wooden box here: Ral Mike's Toolorama of South Plainfield, New Jersey. So I believe this is the dealer, tool dealer. I know it's not the maker because as soon as I opened the box and saw what it was, I recognized it right away. Okay. This is a Blake coaxial indicator. Now, coaxial indicators are made to be placed in, this part is placed in a collet on your spindle, on your milling machine, and then there are various little feeler points that attach to the bottom piece there. There are several in here. Okay. Oh, look at that. Hey, that's a... that doesn't belong in there. That looks almost like a Starrett last word maybe, or some other small indicator mount. This would screw on. Okay. Well, we'll set that aside. Maybe we'll find a home for that. Anyways, you got points, okay, like this, right? And what this will do is this will reach down into a bore or a hole, and this part, the body, stays stationary, and the way you keep this from moving is you actually screw in this long rod, okay, and then this will spin, All right, this one's sticky, so it needs a cleaning. But this will spin independently of the body so that you can watch the needle reading. And what you do is you move your X and your Y axis as this is sweeping around the inside of the hole. And when this needle stops moving, then you know that the center line of this, which is the center line of your spindle, is directly in the center of that bore or hole. So you can do, with a small straight point, you can do smaller holes. With a longer point like that, you can do slightly larger holes. And then normally this kit comes with a really long point also, so you can sweep a very large hole. And I have one of these already. I actually bought two of these at the same time. I got a really good deal by buying the two together. I sold one and kept one. So I know the one that I have now is in really good shape and has all the fittings that I would want. This is interesting, though. I don't have... Oh, you see that? I don't have one of those. Geez, you'd almost wonder whether or not that's even belongs to this, except for one thing. It's got the same exact type of shape to the mounting pin, and it fits. It almost seems like this is made to fit that perfectly. If I put this in like correctly, like I had it like that. Oh, I better go break mine out. I might have to steal that out of this. Yep. So here's my Blake coaxial, and you can see I've got the straight point, the small curved one, which are already in there. In addition, I have this little bitty straight point, which looks like it might have been ground down by somebody. I don't know why. I've got the rod, and then in addition to that, down inside here, I think it's not uncommon for these to go, some of these to go missing, or get damaged maybe, because I've seen now, I think there's somebody even selling these aftermarket. So you can buy a set of these aftermarket for your coaxial indicator. But I've got this long one with the curve, the long one with the straight, and then this intermediate straight one. So I don't know how many different feelers they made for this, but the one thing I do know for sure is that I don't have this one. There's the place it goes right there. So why do I want this? What's the big deal about this? Well, this is a very sharp point with a swivel to it. So what this is for is if you make a center punch mark where you want to drill your hole. I can put this on the mill, have this sharp point sit in that center mark, get as close as I can by eye, right? And then when this starts spinning, this will be able to swivel a little bit, and it'll still give me a reading. So I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's what this is for. That this is for sticking in a center punch mark, so that you can line up your spindle directly over the mark and then drill your hole. So that's going to go in there. So I'll keep this. The only thing I also don't have the instructions. I don't want to take the instructions out because, oddly enough, this tool dealer must have been a pretty big tool dealer. I don't know if it's still around or not, but check it out. They've got this little booklet here on how to use the indicator, and it basically says right on the bottom here, Ral Mike's Toolorama. All right, so they went as far as to actually customize the paperwork. So what are we looking at here? This is the parts diagram. I have to sneeze. Come on. I hate when that happens. Yeah, so it looks like they're calling that part that I just stole out of here, part 853. Let's see what they describe in 853 to be. Plug center point feeler. Center point. Yep, that's what center point. That's what you take with a center punch, make a mark, that's your center point. That's what it is. Okay, and let's see what this little label here says. If I can get it out without ripping it. It's stuck to the cancerous foam. Ugh. Ugh. That was really stuck in there. Morel mics. That sticker is clearly attached to a existing. Read before using. Yada yada yada. Okay. All right. So that's really handy. That's really handy. So I think what we're going to do, since this box is marked Rail Mike's Toolorama, and this box really only, other than these initials down here, isn't marked, I think what we'll do is we'll do this. We'll take this. The foam's long gone in both of these. All right, so I'll take this out. Oh, dirty pool. I can't transfer. I can't do what I wanted to do here because this long sweet point won't fit in this box. They didn't, look at that. They didn't route out that box deep enough. Oh well, it looks like I got to keep the instructions and all of that stuff with the one I'm selling. The only other thing I could do is just switch these, but like I said, this one needs a little bit of attention. I don't know if I'm going to have time to get to it, but it's sticking. This part right here, okay, that moves up and down. See how that's sticking out right now? That's not supposed to happen. This is supposed to be. See, it's spring loaded. And I could just feel it's really gummy. I don't know, what am I thinking? What the hell do I care if this stuff says Rail Mike on it? I still want to keep the instructions with my keeper. Even my keeper one here, when it sits for a while, when you first hit it, it sticks. But then it's free. I don't know why the heck this doesn't want to go in that box, but maybe it's that's its way of saying that it lives here and not here. So I keep that little one. This little one here, I'll keep that in here with mine. So I guess I do kind of want to see what the heck I could do about unsticking this thing. Something in here I missed. All right, I don't want to get too much more bogged down in this, but I'll probably have a video where I try and correct the problems with this. I did a little bit of checking, and apparently it's not an uncommon issue for these to get sticky, and well, it doesn't seem like too difficult of a repair. So you can look forward to seeing a video eventually on that, because in good working condition these are actually pretty valuable. Condition it's in, it really devalues it, and I don't think it's going to be that difficult of a repair. Let's move on. Got a few of these Starrett 0 to 1s, and they're all a little bit different, even though I think they're all basically, they're in the 230 series, but there's variations here. For instance, this is a tenths micrometer. So you can see the vernier lines there. This also has a little added bonus, which I didn't even notice when I first looked at it. It's got an attachment on it. This is a attachment that I believe is a Starrett part. And what this does is this gives the this goes over the anvil on the micrometer, and it gives it the ability to measure something that might have a curve to it. So that's actually a little bonus. So I'll probably rob that off of this micrometer before I sell it. And here is another 230, and the difference being twofold. This is not a tenths micrometer, and also notice it has no lock. This lock is not present. Here's another 230, and this is a tenths micrometer with the lock. So this one and this one are virtually identical. Carbide faces on this one. Oh, well, interesting. Oh, no, so we got so there's another variation there. These two are almost identical, except this one on the bottom has carbide tips. This one does not. And then this guy right here is a Helios, Fowler, but Helios. So Fowler's not known for their more to be a more high-end product, but the Helios brand, made in Germany, is actually quite nice stuff. I just actually sold a Helios protractor. Matter of fact, that Helios protractor, I believe that's going to the Mature Patriot. He's got a new YouTube channel, or newer YouTube channel. So what's nice about this Helios is that it is a tenths micrometer, but not as valuable as the Starrett's, because the Starrett has such a powerful brand name. This does have carbide tips though, carbide faces, and it does have a good lock. This is a friction thimble on here. And this one's sitting in a box. This is well, let's look at what this is. This is a Starrett 436 series. It is a tenths micrometer. It has a lock. It is the lock works on this one fine. It is a carbide faced. There's actually a little bit of damage right there. I wonder how the heck that happened. How the heck could somebody do that to a micrometer? That's weird as heck. Anyways, so I'm wondering whether or not this box is correct, because this is a T436, which means it's a 436 series. The T prefix, I believe, means that it's the tenths micrometer. All right, so I just checked online, and the T436 XFL-1, which is what this is, means that it has carbide faces, locking nut, tenths micrometer, and friction thimble. So this is what was throwing me off on this one. This friction thimble is not working. It's jammed up. That line right there would indicate to me that there should be a friction thimble. Just like this one. Doesn't turn in that direction by design, but in this direction it slips by design. Same thing with this one. See, won't turn backwards, turns forwards. As opposed to this one here does not have a friction thimble. Okay. So why doesn't this work? Oh, there we go. Oh, wow, okay. It's just gummed up. There you go, it's freeing up now. Probably hasn't been turned in a long, long time. All right, that's okay. That we can live with. Nice that it's got the original box. Here's a 436 XRL-1. Ah, what could the XRL mean in the 436 series? Well, what we got here is not the right micrometer at all. This, I didn't even look at the number on the box. I just noticed that it was a disc micrometer and said, oh yeah, okay, I want that one. This is a 256 disc style micrometer. Ratchet thimble, lock, and the disc style. I may or may not have one of these right now. I think I have one of these, but it may be in a different, maybe a Mitutoyo or something. I'll have to check. But actually, that's not the right box for this, because this 436 XRL-1, maybe it's one of those right there that belongs in this box. Yeah, so this box, 436 XRL-1, it's supposed to be this micrometer. Did say 436? Yeah, it's supposed to be this micrometer, only with a ratchet thimble instead of a friction thimble, and not a tenths micrometer. Long story short, I don't appear to have the micrometer that goes in this box. I've got a few more over there I'm going to pull out from this lot. So I'm going to set this aside, see if we can't find the correct box for it. Because the plot thickens, because I also got this micrometer, which this says it's the T230 XFL. Okay? So a T230 XFL. And what's in here is another 436. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, hey, it's the 436 that's missing from the other box. Well, let's see. It's got the ratchet stop. It's not a tenths micrometer. It's got carbide faces and the lock. Is this it? 436.1 XRL-1. Ratchet stop, lock nut, carbide faces, thousandths. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's the correct micrometer for that box. All right. Little booklet, how to read a micrometer. Isn't that nice? So this is a nice box, and it's got a brand new micrometer wrench in the package here. T230 XFL. Ah, boy, this is an expensive micrometer. The T230 XFL is a tenths micrometer, 0 to 1 inch, friction thimble, lock nut, carbide faces. Ah, it might be one of these. Yeah, it's one of these. This friction thimble, lock nut, carbide faces, and it's a 230. That's this one. Sweet. It's a nice little micrometer. Actually, almost too much stuff in here. Almost too much of a good thing. This one, I don't know what the part number was on here. The sticker's been ripped off. This has a repair order on it. So it looks like this was sent out for repair. And then it was invoiced, so I'm thinking maybe it was repaired because I already checked and it does work. But what's in here, this is a sweet little gem. Look at this. This is a Starrett 216, and this is a digital mechanical, or mechanical digital, if you want to call it that. All right. So this is a nice little micrometer and it works perfectly. This has carbide faces, locking, a lock nut, a friction thimble, and the mechanical counter. This thing has everything I want in a micrometer except for one thing. It's metric. This is a metric. See, it says millimeter right there. So, alas, that is not going to go in my keep pile. Alright, I think this is the last of the micrometers, except for one I'm going to save for the very last because I think it's the nicest of the bunch. This one is a Brown & Sharp. Yeah, this is a Brown & Sharp number 47. So this is an early Brown & Sharp micrometer. This is a 1 to 2 inch. You can see the little logo right there. Brown & Sharp, Providence, Rhode Island, number 47. It's got the locking thimble. It does lock. I had one similar to this in an old wooden box a while ago, but it had a movable anvil, and it made it almost like I think it was a convertible. I think it could measure both metric and standard. This is not the same thing. So that'll be a cheap 1 to 2 inch micrometer. That's actually a vintage. You could classify that one as a vintage micrometer. Here's a couple of 436s. This is a 2 to 3 inch and a 3 to 4 inch. These two are pretty much identical. Neither one of them are tense micrometers, and they do not have carbide faces. They do not have friction thimbles or ratchet thimbles. They don't have locks. They're real plain Jane models. This, on the other hand, is interesting. This is a Starrett. This is a Starrett model 216, and it's another digital mechanical. So this is a 1 to 2 inch digital mechanical. This one has a friction thimble by the looks of it. I don't know if it's just stuck like the other one. Well, maybe not. Well, it sure looks like it's supposed to be a friction thimble. Might be stuck. But this one's got carbide faces also. So that's an interesting micrometer. I have to look that one up and get a value on that. Probably going to test this one too, just to be on the safe side. But it does seem to be counting correctly. Oh, this is also a tenths micrometer. I just noticed that. Huh. Locking nut works on this one perfectly fine. Alright, and one more micrometer to show you. This is a 256RL-1 is what the box says, but let's see what we got here. So, I spotted this, and I knew right off the bat what it was. It's a multi-anvil micrometer, Starrett, and this is on number 220. So this box is also incorrect. And this is a Seco patch. I don't know why that's even in there. Anywho, let's see if we can't figure out what this is. 256RL-1. I wonder if that is the box for the disc micrometer. So this is a multi-anvil micrometer. The only issues with this micrometer are there is no box and there are no other anvils to go with it. This is the only one, the one that's in there now. Now, what you can use for anvils on this are dowel pins. So that's not the end of the world. But the lock works. Yeah, I already have one of these with the box, so this will be a sale item. I'll be able to offer that up for sale. Let's just double check this though. 256RL-1, and our disc micrometer is a 256 if I recall correctly. Yeah, see, that's a 256. Let's see. Yeah, that's what that is. That's that micrometer right there. Oh, that's cool beans. So now I have the original box of this micrometer, which does improve the value. Digital Equipment Corporation. I'll just double check and see what I've got for a disc mic and a multi-anvil mic. So here's the other half of this this jig that this gentleman had created, and I can't use it on my mill. Obviously it was on a much smaller machine, but the nearest I could figure from the way he was describing it, he didn't have a milling machine there at his house any longer. This was something he used at work. But I believe that the way he had this rigged up was that this was, I think, on the quill or spindle. No, what the heck was this on? Doesn't really make sense now that I think of it. This foot is obviously supposed to sit on here like this. This is your rough adjustment here. You loosen this set screw and slide the rod up and down, and then you had a fine, basically precise reading for the down feed, distance of down feed. But I can't figure out how this would have been hooked on. I don't know. Anyways, we'll probably just take this indicator off and sell it as is. This is that indicator that I showed you earlier in the video, that the sub dials, they're not clocked correctly. The other thing about this that I just noticed is this whole thing is moving like this. This isn't moving. What the hell's going on with that? Oh, that's weird. Did you see that? I just turned this and the thing went crazy. And now it's closer to being clocked. Oh wow. Wow, that's something really what the heck? This only turns so far to the right and then stops, and then if you do that, this is really stiff and locked up. But then if I pull it down and I turn it this way, in the middle it's almost like it's unlocked. And then if I turn it all the way to the other way, again it locks up again. I think that thing's sick. Alright, we're going to call this an end to part 2. I hope I didn't bore you guys too much with this one. We got more to come. Take care.